Test.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you to the regular meeting of the City of Clearlake Council in the Clearlake City Hall Council Chambers located at 14050 Olympic Drive in Clearlake. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. It is 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Slutin.
Here.
Councilmember Overton.
Here.
Councilmember Kramer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Claffey.
Here.
Mayor Purdock.
Present. Mr. Slutin, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would remain standing, Mr. Jones, would you lead us in the invocation?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Our kind Father, we're grateful for this evening. We're grateful for the chance we have to gather for the city council meeting. We pray for our elected officials. We pray for the audience and all the family members that are here. We ask a special blessing on Chief Hobbs and Lieutenant Peterson and their families as they move forward and do the work protecting this city. We're grateful for them and for their families' dedication to the city. We pray that would be with the council members as they go over this agenda and be mindful and thoughtful and deliberative in their decisions tonight. And we pray for this community and pray for the city of Clearlake. In the name of thy son, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'd like to take a moment, a bit of privilege, to dedicate this meeting to a former employee, member of our community, Julie Burrows, who passed away. I met Julie years and years ago when the City Hall was down at the old Pete Johnson Motors building. And I needed a permit to add a little room onto my home. And I got to meet with Julie and scribbled out my plans on a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper. She stamped it approved and I went to work. And I got to work with her off and on when doing city business for a number of years. And but I know she was a very dear friend of yours, Councilmember Overton, if you'd like to share just a couple of thoughts. And again, as we remember her in this meeting and the great job she did here in the city of Clearlake and the number of years that she served us. Thank you.
I'm sure most of you guys have probably know Julie or dealt with Julie. She worked for the city for over 20 years in different capacities. Actually started out in public works and came into City Hall and moved her way up. She did a lot for our community. I think a lot of people appreciated her compassion towards people. I think if you know Julie, she was a big cat lover. In fact, she had like 30 cats at her house. It was unfortunate, but she did end up passing away of cancer in January. So I just felt like, it was nice that the city recognizes her, even though she may not be here. Her family would appreciate that we all, have her in our thoughts. So please pray for her family. And I thank you for giving us the opportunity to honor her at this meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Overton. Mr. Flora, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make. And I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Slotin and a second by Councilmember Kramer. We're all present.
I forgot.
There we go.
So now we have to remember how to do this.
Where are we trying to go here?
All right, we're waiting for one.
Yay.
All right, Madam Clerk,
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
thank you all. Next, moving on to presentations, something very special, and we're happy to do this at this time. Chief Hobbs, would you like to stand and move to the podium? Our city clerk will swear you in.
Okay, before we start, I just want to say a few words to Chief Hobbs. You've spent your entire law enforcement career with the Clearlake Police Department. And you filled nearly every role available during your time here. That service doesn't necessarily qualify or prepare you to serve as chief. However, I believe you are prepared. In fact, you have shown that over the past several weeks. You've already been challenged as your time as chief. You have responded well, and I frequently hear from our community members that they are impressed with how you're handling yourself in the leadership role. You have stepped in at a time where the department has performed at a high level in the community's expectation. But we haven't peaked yet, and I strongly believe you're the right person for this time. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And with that, City Clerk Swanson swear. Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of California. And the Constitution of the State of California. Against all enemies. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith. That I will bear true faith. And allegiance. And allegiance. To the Constitution of the United States. To the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. And the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. Or purpose of evasion. That I will well and faithfully. That I will well and faithfully. Discharge the duties. Discharge the duties. On which I am. On which I am. Okay, go ahead. Pretty good. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say a few words here real quick before we move on to Lieutenant Peterson. First, I would like to thank City Manager Alan Flora and this Clearlake City Council for the confidence they have shown in me by appointing me to be the Chief of Police. This position comes with very important responsibilities. Thank you for the faith you have shown in me. Secondly, I'd like to thank Andrew White. During the last 4.5 years, Andrew was a key part of making the department a better place and setting us up to move forward as we continue to improve and grow. I learned a lot from him and would not be in the position I am today without his mentorship. Thank you. Thank you everyone else who took the time out of your busy schedule to be here tonight. especially the police department and city employees. Your presence here means a lot. Thank you. Those of us in law enforcement know no police officer can truly be successful without the support of their family. I am very fortunate to have a great supportive family. I would also like to let the members of the community who are here tonight know something about the Clearlake Police Department and our officers. Our level of service and our commitment to the community is second to none. I am proud and happy to be part of this team. As chief, I will do my best to ensure our department maintains a high level of service, to improve whenever we can, and to strengthen our relationships with the community. In closing, I have a message for the employees of the police department. I need your guys' help. No chief of police can be successful without the support, dedication, and hard work of their employees at every level within the department. Thank you very much for everyone coming tonight.
Stay up there. I'm going to do a little impromptu pause of the meeting, and I'd like to just recognize some dignitaries that made it down here tonight for your swearing in. I'd like to recognize Chief Brad Rasmussen from the Lakeport Police Department, Chief Willie Cepeda from Lake County Fire, and also your mentor, Andrew White, Chief of Martinez Police Department. And I wanted to offer you an opportunity, since these things only happen hopefully once, that you could get a photo op, if you would like, with your peers and your mentor. We can pause the meeting for that if you'd like, sir. Very good. If you gentlemen wouldn't mind coming up and posing with the chief, it's kind of a momentous occasion for us. Come on, Willie. One thing about this community is we all pull together, and when there's a crisis, these are the guys that are going to be responding and helping us. So. See you guys together. Thank you.
Just going to say a few quick words here about Lieutenant Peterson. Lieutenant Peterson, like me, has spent his entire career here. He has over 15 years he spent with the department. He's done many roles within the department. Most recently, he was a patrol sergeant. Recently, we did testing for the lieutenant position, and he did very well in the process, so he is here today. So I want to thank him for being a part of our team and putting all the hard work and dedication he has in during his entire career.
I state your name. I, Ryan Peterson, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of California, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Willie, you got the first aid kit?
Yeah.
We're going to pause for about 5 minutes for photos and family to congratulate these good officers. Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Lieutenant Peterson and Chief Hobbs. One more time. Yeah.
All right, if everyone can find their seats, we're going to begin in a few minutes or a few seconds. Go to that picture when you get pulled over, Rick.
Allowed? Hey, Chief, I want a photo.
All right, everyone, if we can come back to order where we convene. Next on our agenda under presentations is item 2, presentation of a proclamation declaring March 2023 as March for Meals Month. If I could ask the Senior Center President, Stephanie Codling, and Councilmember Overton / Executive Director of the Senior Center, and also David to come down to the podium. You're important. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming down and being a part of our presentation for this proclamation for Meals on Wheels. Ms. Overton, if you would like to introduce your board.
Hi, yes, we have our board president, Stephanie Codling, our treasurer, who takes care of all our finances, make sure we're doing it right, Joyce Adams, our secretary, Michael Snelling. Of course, we know David is our one of our board members now, but he's our past president. And we appreciate, he kind of got us into the era of the new days. So we actually have websites and Facebooks and all that stuff. So we thank him very much because it's really helped us out on the communication with our public. This is Michelle Allen, and she's a board member. We have one board member that is missing, Anita. She is home not feeling well. So she is our vice president. Oh, what was your name again? Camille Cummins, who is one of our new board members also. So I have to say, I have an awesome staff here at the board here. They really kicked in. David came in when I wanted to try to upgrade us and make us like into the 21st century, and I knew nothing, and he came in and helped us get that going. It's been a great asset for us to have that communication with the public, because now they can email us, see what we have on our menus, check out some resources, and not always happen to just call us, which we get swamped with calls anyway. So it has deterred some of that off of that. So I really appreciate. Michael has been sitting on and off. She moved away for a little while, but when she came back, I grabbed her again. And she's been on our board for as long as I've been around. How long had you sat on the board? Yeah, so she's been there and very dedicated. So Joyce Adams has been on the board for what, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? We're going on there. Yeah, so then and then we have some new ones, but they all contribute and help us. So I appreciate every one of them and their support, that they support me and help us. Our center is getting better, and it's because of this board and their direction and helping me make that happen. So I do appreciate them. So they deserve all the hand, really, because without their direction, I can't do anything because they don't tell me I can. I can't. So I appreciate them.
That's the way it works, right?
It is the way it works.
All right. Thank you, Madam Executive Director. Well, as I said, March is March for Meals Month. Meals on Wheels is an amazing program, but it's more than just a delivery service or food preparation service. Oftentimes it can be a lifeline. All of us in a small community oftentimes wear many hats. And in a couple other hats that I wore, I was able to see the good work of the Meals on Wheels drivers when rescue was called to revive their clients who had fallen or succumbed to a illness and had no one else to check on them. And had it not been for that Meals on Wheels driver, they probably would not have made it another day. So life-saving is another big part of Meals on Wheels, and just the friendship that is created. So with that, I'd like to read this proclamation from the council from the city of Clearlake. Whereas on March 22nd, 1972, President Richard M. Nixon signed into law a measure that amended the Older American Act of 1965 and established a national nutrition program for seniors 60 years of age and older. Whereas Meals on Wheels Association of America established a national March for Meals campaign in March 2002 to recognize the historic month and importance of Older Americans Act senior nutrition programs and raise awareness about senior hunger in America. Whereas in 2023 observance of the March Meals for Wheels campaign provides an opportunity to support senior nutrition programs that deliver vital and critical services by donating, volunteering, and raising awareness about senior hunger. Whereas volunteer drivers for the Meals on Wheels programs in Clearlake are the backbone of the program and are not only delivering nutritious meals to homebound seniors and individuals with disabilities, but also caring, concern, and attention to their welfare. Whereas senior nutrition programs provide nutritious meals to seniors throughout the city and help them to avoid premature and unnecessary institutionalization. And whereas senior nutrition programs also provide a powerful socialization opportunity for millions of seniors to help combat loneliness and isolation. Whereas senior nutrition programs in Clearlake deserve recognition for their contributions they have made and will continue to make in our local community. Now, therefore, the City of Clearlake City Council does hereby proclaim March 2023 as March for Meals Month and urges every citizen to take time this month to honor our senior nutrition programs, the seniors they serve, and the volunteers who care for them. Our recognition and involvement of the National 2023 Meals for Wheels campaign can enrich our entire community and help end senior hunger in America, so no senior will go hungry. Dated this second day of March 2023, provided by the City Council for the City of Clearlake. Ms. Codling, may I present this to you? Would you like to dance? There you are. I was going to offer the president. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Madam President? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Oh, of course you don't. Well, I would just like to add that Joyce has just done a phenomenal job of making our senior center a really great place to be. And the meals are wonderful. And I encourage everybody to come out, whether you're, and come to lunch there and meet other people. And it is just a really nice place to be. And I'm really thankful, so thankful that we have Meals on Wheels. And to your point, there are so many that wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Meals on Wheels. So thank you.
And they can make a donation too, can't they?
Yes, they can. Absolutely. Yes. And a wonderful website. And we do have a Facebook presence. cityofclearlake.org.
Is there
You can make a
something, is there something
But-
coming up here soon, Joyce?
Excuse me?
Is there something coming up here in the next week or two talking about
yeah.
fundraisers?
Yeah, I was getting to that. So,
Okay.
so yes, so this is our March for Meals. This is where we try to push our, unfortunately, we have to have money to run these meals. And I don't know if people realize that, we suggested a $5 donation, but unfortunately in our area, most people cannot donate. But I want people to realize that for $1,825 a year, actually feeds a senior, for a whole year, a meal every single day, 365 days. That's really not much. That's most of our paychecks. So you just think about one paycheck could actually feed a senior, a person in our country for a whole year. That's almost unheard of. So I want really people can go online. They can donate on our website, which is HSSC, our acronyms, clearlake.org. There's a donation button there. $5 that pays for a meal, we'll take it. Everything counts. So we are having a fundraiser on March 25th. It's our annual hoedown that we normally have later on in the year, but we've decided to move it to March because everybody else has theirs. So please, our tickets are only $40. So it's not much. We're trying to keep prices low. We actually lowered it than what we had last year to try to help people because we know that everybody's still having hard times. So, but this is the way way we raise our money to keep our programs going. Without the community support, this won't be successful. We've been lucky that the pandemic happened because of the pandemic, we're still here because we were closing before the pandemic, but because of the funding and our local Rotary Club and LARCA kept us going until we got some federal and state funding. But that's going away. So now we have to look at what are we going to do to keep our programs going. So I really do encourage that you guys come in and enjoy a dinner and a dance. Good old hold down, just a good old country barn dance is what we're going to have. You don't have to dress up, just come as you are and have a good time, meet some new people. We're going to do some line dancing, so you don't even have to bring a partner. You can come by yourself if you have to, So we're trying to make it as easy as possible. Just have a nice good time, nice get out, just fundraiser to help keep our programs going. We also started a pause program because, many of our seniors during the pandemic was feeding their food to their animals. These are things that it helps keep them have purpose. It makes them have purpose. This is how they live. Without their animals, they just, they'd be lost and probably pass away just by not, wanting to live. So, so we do have a pause program and, we need support for that. We don't have a lot of funding for that, but we're trying to keep it going. We get little donations here and there, but so you can always donate to that. And that's what part of the funding raising that we're doing for this event will also go to. So help us feed their animals and feed them. So, and we appreciate all the support that we have gotten, especially from our local clubs and stuff. Have been grateful. We've been very grateful for all that. So thank you. I know I'm long here.
You're long-winded. That's okay. We're used to it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for your indulgence as we got through our presentations. They're very important. Next on our agenda is public comment. Public comment is a time for any member of the public to address the city council on any matter not on tonight's agenda within the subject matter and jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow council members or staff to discuss issues brought before the council for public comment. So we cannot answer your questions or address you at that time. Concerns may be referenced to staff or placed on the next available agenda. So please remember that comments are limited to 3 minutes each. And with that, I will open this item. Is there anyone here wishing to make public comment? I do have a written request by Mr. Alan Markowski. Thank you. Sorry about that. Please come up, Mr. Markowski. Wants to talk to us tonight about air quality.
My name is Alan Joseph Markowski. I want to talk about the subject of air quality. One of the reasons I moved to Lake County was because of the air quality. Moved here in the fall of 1999, but since then the air quality has gone down tremendously. If nobody has noticed with fires and recently stuff that's been happening with the weather here. I was the manager of the station a while back. It was called a conspiracy video. It was called White Haze and Jet Trails. It was by Tom Slate. He's a member of B8 as it was then called. I had lots of videos come through the station and I learned a lot about things that I didn't know before until I came to the station. Tom introduced me to the subject of White Haze and Jet Trails. It was a movie that talked about geoengineering. And I investigated that as time went on more and more because I was a gardener and I noticed the soil was changing, the pH was changing. So that was the thing that first connected me. But I presented for you to look at your own leisure. I'll be back again because I came familiar with this geoengineering. It's something that's in the news today. So investigate it for yourself. You'll have the papers and I'll be back here again. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the council at this time under public comment? Please step forward. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone in the Zoom?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were filming. No, sir. Just step to the microphone, introduce yourself, and if you're a resident of Clearlake.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alan Cohn. I am a resident of Clearlake. Just want to say I'm really thankful for being here. I like what you guys have done in the following years. I've been here for 7 years. I've seen a lot of improvements in the community. I've seen a lot of friendly interaction between, police, cops, and law enforcement, peace officers, period, like in the public. I know it's a lot of riffraff that goes on and stuff, but I see it's a change in, the way that, they deal with this riffraff, because, mental health is a thing, and just raising awareness about it. People could be under a mental condition and they would not even know. So I just want to say thank you guys for being here. I'm glad to be here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more city council groups. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Anyone else wanting to address the council under public comment? This is your time. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Does any member of the council wish to pull an item or discuss an item on the consent agenda? Mr. Floor, any changes to consent agenda? Is there a member of the public that would like to pull an item from our consent agenda for discussion? And last, anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
May I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Motion by Councilmember Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Claffey. All those in favor? Aye.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to business. Item 6, consideration of appointment of 2 planning commissioners to fill the terms ending in March 2027. I'm elated to see we have 4 applicants. We had 5, one pulled his application. So if I could just go over how this is going to work. Give me a second. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to go in alphabetical order by the names of those applicants. Our first candidate will be Jamie DeWalt, because D is one of the beginning letters of the alphabet. And we're going to ask the other applicants to step into a soundproof booth while we're interviewing our first candidate. All the candidates will get the same questions in the same order without variation. And with that, I'd like to excuse the 3 candidates, Christopher Ingalls, Carlos Ramos, and Jack Smalley, to the soundproof booth. All right, Ms. DeWalt, would you like to step up to the podium? Thank you for your application. Now, Planning Commission is something that I don't think a lot of our community is aware, just the function of the Planning Commission, but is a very intricate and integral part of the operations of the city. With that and with this process, we're going to try to learn a little through these questions we're going to ask a little bit about you, some of your vision for the city. And again, hopefully it won't be too stressful.
Okay, thank you.
So take your time. If you need a water, let us know or something like that. And with that, let me get started. First question. Tell us about your qualifications and why you would be a good choice for planning commissioners. It's a 2-part. And then what skills, qualities, experience, or education you possess that would allow you to hit the ground running if you're appointed. Go ahead.
The first one again.
That's okay. So actually, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, maybe the street you live on,
Okay.
how many years you've lived here.
Okay, Jamie DeWalt. I've been here for 26 years.
Okay.
I work at a local bank here and I've been there for 20 years. And I just watch you guys on the TV and I know you all and I watch the planning commission and I know that all the events that are happening here and I like all the growth that's happening. And I'd like to help with the growth here in the
Thank you.
community.
So yeah, just tell us about your qualifications and why you would be a good choice for planning commissioner.
I think that I would be more just neutral, see what has been given, and look at the paperwork and help with the team
Mhm.
and making a decision.
And do you have any skills or qualities, experience or education that would allow you to hit the ground running if selected?
No, this would be new learning for me, and I think
Okay.
it would be a good challenge for me.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Vice Mayor.
So a planning commissioner's primary responsibility is to make land use decisions that are consistent with the policies and plans formally adopted by the city council. Do you know what documents guide the policies and plans of the city?
I would need to read the documents and unfortunately, no, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Craig.
Okay. This, DeWalt, what do you know about the current projects of the city?
Okay. I know
Projects that
that
are going on in the city
we're-
now?
We're building a big giant sports center, which is very exciting, or it's going. And I know about all of the stuff that's happened in the park, which is really good. 'Cause I'm there every time there's a show, I'm there. And just, I know that if you do a permit, if a business person wants a permit, we look at the permit process and decide on it and read all the material.
So we're done, I guess. Number 4.
Okay, so Jeff here. Do you have a defined idea about, or have you taken a public census on any current projects in the city?
Taking a public census, what do you mean?
Stance.
Or a stance, just a stance
Stance.
on what you do, is there something
That
like
I
really
like or
gonna
don't like, or
say,
that
like, is there a project going that you're like, no, I don't want, or yeah, I do want, or anything?
No, I like all the projects currently that are going on in the city. I don't see any negative projects in the city.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Sluten.
Are there other planning projects or issues that you have concerns about or that you feel are important planning issues facing the city of Clearlake?
Currently, I'm unaware of issues.
Thank you.
So the agenda for a planning commission meeting is these are big projects. They're sometimes hundreds of pages long.
Yes.
What would be your process to thoroughly prepare for a planning commission meeting to have a quality conversation?
I would have to read all of the paperwork and then ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions from the other council members. And I'd learn. This is new. I think it would be a great learning experience for me.
Okay. Have you attended a planning commission meeting?
I watch them on YouTube.
Pardon?
I
On
watch them
Zoom?
on YouTube.
Okay. If not, okay. So that answered that one. I don't have to go to number 2 or part 2 on that. But you have watched them on Zoom?
I've watched them on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what would you do as a planning commissioner if you were unsure of how to vote on a particular issue? And how would you handle a decision that you did not agree on?
Well, I would definitely ask a lot of questions. And can you say the last part again?
If you were unsure on how to vote on a particular issue, which you answered, and how would you
Yeah.
handle if a decision that you did not agree with, like the vote went through, they decided that it's going to go through, and but you don't agree with it, you voted no on it, how would you handle it?
It would just go through. There's nothing you can do about that.
Good for you.
If you were asked to sit on a city council ad hoc or subcommittee such as homelessness issues
Mhm.
or commercial cannabis ad hocs, what would you do to prepare for this assignment?
Would there be material that I would need to read for that assignment?
I would assume so.
I would, yeah, so I would read the material and then, of course, ask people who are existing on boards how they would, ask for assistance and guidance. Like I said, this is new for me, so a lot of learning.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, and now it's back to me. So
Oh, okay.
the last question of the
All right,
evening
Russ.
is, you shared with us, you like some of our visions and things
Oh,
that can
yes.
happen in the city. We'd like to know what your vision for the future of Clear Lake would be.
I'd like to see more growth, the same things that is happening, a lot of stuff in the park for the youth, for everyone. That's what I like, is everything that's happening is for everyone. I really like the sports complex that hopefully goes. Because I'm excited about that. Housing's an issue, homelessness is an issue. I have a lot of things in my head about homelessness that I'd like to see if we can work on.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it. We're done. Okay,
You can
thank
breathe now.
Okay.
breathe
thank
now.
you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You can stay. You can stay. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already interviewed you. You're done. No second chances.
Good evening, Mr. Ingles. Thank you again for your application. If you would, please introduce yourself and maybe what part of the city you live in, and then I have a question for you.
Okay. My name is Chris Inglis. I'll introduce myself. I married into here 30 years ago. We bought into here 20 years ago, and we're here now as of 2020. We're taking our retirement. Who knows when I'll really retire? But we live on Monitor Point.
Very good. So first question I have for you is, tell us about your qualifications and why you would be a good choice for a planning commissioner. And then second part of that question is, what skills, qualities, experience, or education do you possess that would allow you to hit the ground running if you were appointed?
I'll start with the second part.
Okay.
For skills and qualities that would allow me to hit the ground running.
Okay.
First of all, forgive me for this. I woke up with this yesterday. It's an impermanent condition. I've had to practice my P's in the mirror today, and it's
No problem,
anyway,
sir.
that's it. I plan for a living. I'm a certified financial planner. I have been working with families for 40 years. And literally what I do all week long is listen to people, take in the data, put a plan, discuss it with the plan, and then over the years, help them implement the plan, help them stick to the plan, make revisions when necessary, listen to them when time changes. And I did look at the description of this job, and I did talk to some friends of mine that are in municipal finance and would know more about this. My brother as well, who is a dean at Stanford University Real Estate, just to see if this would be a fit. And they felt with my background that it would be. I am facile with numbers and things, but in my other life, I'm a musician, and the three things that you look to when you bring in somebody into a group is diligence, it's talent, and it's what I like to say, go along, get along. I don't know about the talent because I've never done this before. But I do have diligence, and I do show up prepared, and I do attend to those things. And over the last, say, 40 years, I've learned a lot of the go along, get along much better than when I was perhaps a younger man. But I do tend to work well in groups. I have a team of people with whom I work every day. A lot of it's obviously been on Zoom because I work up here now. So I'm capable of that as well. And the first part of the question is what background qualities, what my CV kind of.
Any qualifications?
Yeah. I'm a certified financial planner. I have a degree in economics from Davis. I go X. So, as I said, I've been working in conjunction with other people to try to create a forward look and to try to hold to that forward look for families for 40 years. I have clients that I've had since 1982 that still work with me, and their kids work with me, and now their grandkids are coming in to work with me. So I'm sorry, I'm not selling you on my current job.
All right.
I apologize. That last little bit.
This is your
sales.
time to shine, sir.
Yeah, so.
All right, Vice Mayor.
I think I'd be capable to handle the work and the workload. And because I work daytimes, the meeting times work, and I have plenty of time at night to be able to study and put through the work that would
Thank
be
you, sir.
needed.
Vice Mayor.
So the planning commissioner's primary responsibility is to make land use decisions based on the policies and plans formally adopted by the city council. Do you know what documents guide those policies and plans for the city?
Well, I would suppose chapter 8 of the overall plan would be the main thing, the housing element. I mean, that seems to be what's online and what's published. I know that the city has an overall overarching plan. It was revised through 2014-19. I know that chapter 8, the housing portion, was kind of finalized in 2017. I've seen a lot of good things happen since 2014 and 2017 since I've been up here. So it feels like there is a plan. I haven't read every single document on it. I did peruse the 390 pages on the chapter 8 because I know nothing. So everything I read is new to me. Outside of the fact that I do pick up some stuff by reading the paper and driving around and asking questions. Did that answer it, David? Yeah, or Mr. Vice Mayor, sorry.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kramer.
What do you know about current projects that are happening in the city?
Couple of Burns Valley projects. Obviously, there's the hotel. That's and right now I think we're at the point of you have received back mitigation factors and you've turned in and tried negative mitigation and now you're reacting and mitigating some of the negative things that have come up, and we're in that stage. I know that there's the sports complex and soon to be maybe muni buildings and police storage and other things. I know that there's been a pregnancy center last year, and there was a cannabis dispensary, cannabis distribution, but mainly I guess the Burns Valley 2 projects, the hotel project, the old airport project, Pierce Field, and the current one near the senior center, the sports complex. I would like to put in a personal plea for a pool. I'm a swimmer, and I wish there was a really good pool up here. That would be a bias that I would have towards a pool.
Use some of that financial planning to get us money for that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman.
My turn.
Yep.
Okay, do you have a defined idea about, or have you taken a public stance on any current projects in the city?
No, but I tend to like them. I tend to like what I see so far. I haven't seen anything where I go, that's just ridiculous. Honestly, I really only pay attention the last 10 years since I've been more of a landholder up here and spending more and more time up here. And now that I'm here permanently, hell yeah, nothing in the last 2 years really hits me poorly.
Oh, good. That means we're
but
doing
I
a good
don't know
job,
any
right?
details. I haven't heard enough to make an informed decision.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Slogan.
Are there other planning projects on issues that you have concerns about or that you feel are important planning issues facing the city of Clearlake?
Growth. We need to grow. we need to continue improving. I have no specific project that I think would help, but I think you would consider me somebody that would be hopeful that we can continue to grow. I wouldn't mind, there's some other issues that have nothing to do with the planning commission, such as a hospital district, a healthcare facilities district, or I wish they had redevelopment agencies, something we could do along those lines, but we're on a good course right now. I mean, maybe I'm biased because we have roads now that are amazing. But there's also the element There's a lot of poverty in this county too, and that kind of, you can't just put that aside. That has to be considered in just about everything you're doing. And I know obviously there's some low cost housing going in the one of the Burns Valley projects, but it feels we're underhoused, but I don't think that's a Lake County only problem. So honestly, priorities for me would be growth, but also with an eye towards making sure people don't get left
Thank you, sir.
aside.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Some staff reports, the agenda that the planning commission receives, those staff reports are hundreds of pages long. You just admitted that you only perused the 300 plus, I'm kidding. What would you do, knowing that these are big projects, what would you do to thoroughly prepare for a planning commission meeting?
Well, my perusal was pretty thorough. So I suppose that wasn't a wise choice of words. I can't show up to meetings unprepared. I'm physically incapable of doing that. So anything that would be talked about, I would have to know about. I read voraciously. I mean, I read everything and anything. I mean, anything. And plus, what I do for a living is I do have to listen and read documents and prepare documents, you know, and they're not to mention the amount of continuing education that's required of us. We have to prepare for all that. But I suppose the question is, would I have a problem with mass quantities of paperwork? And the answer is no. I already do that. Okay. And I'm able to make conclusions about things too with just numbers. I mean, not without asking more questions, but I can at least come up with questions.
That's for sure. Have you attended a planning commission meeting?
I have not.
Okay.
Not here.
Okay, well, what is your plan if appointed to become familiar with the process?
Show up and read everything that I'm given. I don't know any other way other than to dive in. I freely admit I have never had anything to do with this in my background. I do think I'm capable. And honestly, this is a chance for service that I think is something that fits my skills. But no, I haven't sat in on a meeting. I know very little. That's why I had to ask my friends that are in meetings all the time. What is this about? Tell me about it. Would this fit? Does it make any sense? Because I read, it popped up on the radar, and the more I looked into it, the more I felt it would fit. And there really hasn't been a meeting since, I don't think, December. And before that, it was there weren't a whole lot of them last year, but I probably, if there could have been one every week, and I wouldn't have gone. I'm sorry. It didn't enter my consciousness until just recently when I started entertaining the idea.
Thank you for your honesty on that.
Back to me. What would you do as a planning commissioner if you were unsure of how to vote on a particular issue? Let's answer that one first. I got a second part.
Great question. Well, I am in my Medicare year, so I have had decisions to make in my life that were knightheads 50-50 questions. A lot of the answers I would actually do sound silly. I would meditate. I would pray a bit. But more than that, I'd probably take a hike up to the top of Crestview and think about it more. I would also probably ask for a lot more information. If I can't make a decision, then either there are two good options or I don't have enough information.
And then how would you handle a decision that you did not agree with? Like there's a vote, you vote no, they all vote yes, you don't really agree on it. How would you handle that?
Congratulate them for winning 4-1. Or whatever it is. I don't know. I believe there are 5 seated members.
We wouldn't see any fights, right?
No. Too old for that.
Good.
I don't know that ever would have been me. I would have tried to joke about it and convince them to come over to my way of thinking. I like to think I'm on the other side.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sluten.
All right. If you were asked to sit on a city council ad hoc committee or a subcommittee such as homelessness issues, commercial cannabis issues. What would you do to prepare for this assignment?
Read. I would have to research it. Obviously, if there is a committee, there's a committee chair that could help guide me to what information I would need. I would have to get up to snuff on whatever the subject was. Take homelessness. I wouldn't know enough about that. I could sound like I know a lot about it, but I wouldn't. I would have to do a lot of reading. I'd have to look at some numbers and see where we are. And then, of course, we'd have to figure out how to pay for it. I'm not sure that answered your question. I feel like I kind of missed.
You're good. No, you're fine.
Okay.
So in conclusion, we've talked a little bit about your appreciation for, our vision and things that are currently happening in the city. We'd like to hear from you. What is your vision for the future of Clearlake?
Besides the pool and 2 really good restaurants, I would like to see this to be a safe place. It just popped into my head with the $1,000 that only 2 people took advantage of, the $1,000 scholarship that you get for the junior college students at the Woodland, at the local college, for example, things like that. I would love to see things like that. I heard about Joyce and others doing Meals on Wheels, the gentleness with which the seniors are handled that I've seen, only just showing up to the breakfast and a couple other times. For the city, I think it would be also to get their credit facilities and ability to borrow and ability to receive grants from the state. I would love to be able to dig into some of those solutions as a way to pay for a kinder, I don't want to say kinder, gentler, but this, there's a spirit here that, and it smells a lot better up here too, but there's a spirit here that's different than on the peninsula. I look at all the people that are serving here. There's like the level of service per person up here is insane. The room of people that was here, all the service that's there, it's different. I'm in charge of doing the volunteer work for our company, for our branch down there. We have to sign up months in advance. It's all very, as opposed to the hands-on level. And I would love to see that, just if we could take that spirit somehow and continue to make civic municipal progress, like getting our credit rating up and just, practical things in addition to the kind of the quality of life things. I would like to see better access to some of those mobile showers. That would be helpful. There are a lot of little things that could be done, but in general, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your participation in this process. You're welcome to stay if you'd like here in the gallery, or you're free to leave.
I think I'll sit in the gallery. Thank you.
Mr. Flora.
This guy's really good.
Okay. That must be Jack, right?
He knows a hell of a lot more about this.
Yes, he does. Near the hotspot.
Good evening, sir. If you wouldn't mind, if you could introduce yourself and let us know where you live in the city of Clearlake.
My name is Jack Smalley. I live at 3828 Oakland Avenue.
Welcome, sir. It's going to be kind of a simple process. We're just going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to start off with the first one.
Okay.
Actually, why don't you tell us a little bit how long you lived here?
We've owned the house in Clearlake for 1.5 years. My daughter's lived there the whole time. I moved in with her about 4 months ago or so. Lived in Lake County for 26 years, 27 years. Made my career here.
There you go. So tell us about your qualifications and why you'd be a good choice for planning commissioner.
Well, I am the plans examiner for the county, been the building official twice for the county. So, I mean, I know the area plans for the different jurisdictions around the county. Not quite familiar with the Clearlake one, but I've done a lot of that kind of stuff, design review, stuff, all that.
Very good. And second part of this question is, what skills, qualities, experience, education do you possess that would allow you to hit the ground running if you were appointed? I think you kind of touched on it.
Yeah,
First part.
I have the ICC R3 certification, the ICC B3 certification, multiple FEMA certifications and things like that. I have Cal OES. I have a stack of certifications. So
Thank you for your candid answer. Appreciate it.
yes.
Mr. Vice Chair.
So the planning commissioner's primary responsibility is to make land use decisions consistent with the policies and plans of the city council. What documents would you use to guide your decisions to ensure that those policy and plans are adhered to?
Zoning ordinances, I know, I'm sure you guys have GIS just like we do. We use GIS. We use zoning ordinances to see what the zoning the property is would be the first step. And then you can go from there of what's allowed according to the zoning ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Smalley. I got to ask, is it this is a little, it was on the first one, you mentioned the area plans in the county. How old are those area plans? This doesn't count for this, by the way, but I got to ask.
Some of those things are very old.
They're all,
and
they're all
updated.
very old.
Yeah, they're all very old. We have area plan updates and all that happens occasionally too.
I'm right in the middle of that. The real question to ask is, what do you know about the current projects of the city?
Well, I know about the projects behind Safeway. I know the planned gas station up by Jack in the Box. I know of a couple of things at the airport. I've had some discussions with other members sitting in here about some of those projects as well. So I know of all the housing and everything that's going on around, that you guys, the city of Clearlake is actually pushing for some good housing. And, I really appreciate that being in my position where I'm at.
Thank you.
Okay, so far, do you have a defined idea about, or have you ever taken a public stance on any current projects in the city?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Snowden.
So mine was simple and short.
Are there other planning projects or issues that you have concerns about? Or any current that you feel are important planning issues facing the city of Clearlake?
I don't really see any planning issues facing the city of Clearlake. Like I said, I do appreciate the direction the city's going in with housing. It's a much needed aspect of the city, actually everywhere, the state. So, I don't have any negative comments on where I see the city's going so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
The agenda for a planning commission meeting is typically long. A staff report could be 700 pages. What would you do to thoroughly prepare yourself for a meeting where you'd have to make a decision?
Well, as soon as you get that, you have to start going through it immediately, so I have access to different programs that actually read those kind of things to me, even if I needed to. So, I have my office at work, I have office at home and all that. And I'm always there available to go through these. And like you say, these staff reports can be quite long. Sometimes I see them all the time. You just have to buckle down and get through them.
Thank you.
Back to me. Have you attended a planning commission meeting?
I watch them every other Thursday.
Planning
for the
commission?
county.
The county. Have you attended or
I've
watched one of ours?
seen a couple of these, haven't attended too many of the ones for Clearlake, but I do stay on top of some of those for the county.
Okay, I'm gonna just assume the county processes are different, although they probably aren't.
Absolutely.
If not, haven't watched one of ours. What is your plan if appointed to become familiar with the city's planning commission processes?
So there are planning commissioners already, talking to the existing planning commissioners, getting the ideas on, how that works, going through the city website, just doing the investigation. I do a lot of investigation, what I do on a lot of projects now and stuff. So just doing that investigation, familiarizing myself with the whole process and just trying to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so mine's kind of a two-part. I'm gonna read it and then let you answer, then read the second part. What would you do as a planning commissioner if you were unsure of how to vote on a particular issue? That's the first part.
So if I was unsure on how to vote, maybe abstain from the vote. Maybe ask for more information. Just try to get more clarity.
How would you handle a decision that you did not agree with? Say they passed something, you didn't really care, you didn't vote for it.
Well,
How are you gonna go for that?
That's if you're outnumbered in the votes and it passes, there's not much you can do about it anyway. So, I suppose you could voice your opinion on, or your disagreement of it, but it's kind of as far as it can go if it's already passed.
If you were to sit on a city council ad hoc committee or subcommittee such as homelessness issues, commercial cannabis ad hoc, what would you do to prepare yourself for that assignment?
The same answer, you just have to familiarize yourself with what's going on, the projects, what's going on, who's involved, what the overall plan for the projects are. You just have to familiarize yourself with the whole thing, so you can make an informed decision on the outcome, so.
Thank
you.
Again, thank you, sir, for your participation. Mine is the last question of the evening. And then you're welcome to stay in the gallery as we wrap up and deliberate. So last, you've talked a little bit about some of our projects and what you've seen. We'd like to hear from you, your vision for the future of Clearlake.
So my vision for the future of Clearlake, again, I feel that the housing issue is a major issue for, like I said, pretty much the whole state. I like seeing what I see so far. Getting people off the street should be a major objective. And so I think the city's going in the right direction to combat that, and I know homelessness is more than just, people without homes. There's mental health and everything else that occurs, but there are some people that just can't find homes. And I think you guys are on the right track on trying to solve some of them problems.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I guess you surmised that Mr. Ramos appears not to have.
Yes, thank you. And I was going to mention that, Mr. Flora, that on the record, Mr. Ramos did not appear to be interviewed. So we have 3 candidates.
Of course, you could still be welcome to
Right.
consider his
To
application.
consider him. We have his application, but he just wasn't here for the interview. Thank you for that. So now we will rank each of the candidates and submit those to the city clerk for tabulation. And we will do that now. Imagine the theme for Jeopardy right now. Or your pen? I forgot one. Like to pass your votes over to me. You please, vote UPS.
Just gonna hand it down like we always do.
We have an answer.
I thought I should have done well, but I don't know how I am.
No. We thought that through. Cue up the Jeopardy theme.
We'll have to do that next time. That would be good. Can't you do that real quick? You're good at that stuff.
I bet Thomas is listening to it back.
Now Thomas, you can edit this and put that on there when he redoes it.
I was gonna put this in for the YouTube video.
All right.
We have a tablet. We have an answer.
So let me just get this in order real quick. Okay, Council Member Slotin ranked the candidates number 1, Mr. Inglis, number 2, Mr. Smalley, and number 3, Ms. DeWalt. Councilmember Overton ranked the candidates number 1, Mr. Smalley, number 2, Ms. DeWalt, number 3, Mr. Inglis, and number 4, Mr. Ramos. Mayor Purdock ranked the candidates number 1, Mr. Smalley, number 2, Mr. Inglis, number 3, Ms. DeWalt, and number 4, Mr. Ramos. Vice Mayor Claffey ranked the candidates number 1, Mr. Smalley, number 2, Mr. Inglis, number 3, Ms. DeWalt, and number 4, Mr. Ramos. And finally, Councilmember Kramer ranked the candidates number 1, Mr. Smalley, number 2, Ms. DeWalt, number 3, Mr. Inglis, and number 4, Mr. Ramos. So, based on the rankings, it looks like the first choice of the council is Mr. Smalley. The second choice is Mr. Inglis. The third choice is Ms. DeWalt, and then number 4 is Mr. Ramos. The council can then make their vote by motion and second to make the appointment as you see fit. In addition, we have current planning commissioner McCarrick as well. So there are 2 seats, so you can appoint by motion and second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any further discussion? Any comment from the public? Please step up to the podium.
There's no application. This is it. You had to
Yeah.
put it in
The
already.
application process is closed. All right, thank you. Any hands in the Zoom?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Very well. Bring it back to the council for deliberation and action. Oh, I apologize. Mr. Mayo, please.
Members of the council,
It's on.
members of the council, I'm glad to see how you're handling this election process, because being a planning commissioner in this community is a very important task. It's almost as next to being a member of the city council, because the planning commission is quasi judicial body. And trying to adapt the right person for that, you understand, it's a very difficult job. And I applaud both of you, all of you together, for trying to make the best decision you can for our city. As a prior planning commissioner here, it's a big job. A lot of studying. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayo. Appreciate your comments. Please. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. I did clarify an email to City Manager Flora and City Clerk that I'm not running. So I didn't know if that was confusing or not, but I'm not, you don't really run, you apply. So I just
Thank
wanted
you for
to
that
clarify that.
clarification. I appreciate
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
That might help us in our deliberation.
Okay.
Any other comments for the council? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for either deliberation, discussion, or a motion. Mr. Slotin.
Based on the vote tally, it thinks it's appropriate to move to appoint Mr. Jack Smalley and Chris Ingles to the Planning Commission.
I have a motion by Mr. Slotin.
Second.
I have a second by Vice Mayor Claffey. We're moving on to our automated voting system. Aye.
Motion passes with the unanimous vote of the council.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who participated. And thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. Ms. McCarrick, truly appreciate your time on the commission.
I think it was a difficult vote. I think, Mr. Smalley, your background in the county, you were able to answer a lot of questions that I knew that we needed to be answered. I think you probably hit the ground running a little better. My vote between Mr. English and Mrs. DeWalt, I had you extremely close. Mr. DeWalt, you've been in the city and lived here longer. Been working in the community longer. I had a slight edge for you, to be honest. But the two of you were very close, and I think either one of you would have done a fine job. But congratulations, Mr. English, on your selection.
And I just want to say, please come back and apply again. We're gonna
Absolutely.
there will be additional positions available, and we really want to encourage community members to come and become active, to participate in our meetings. It's great having all of you here. Only a couple of you, I think, are being paid. So anyway, really appreciate people being here and seeing about the city's business. Mr. Vice Mayor, do you have a comment?
No, thank you. Three incredible candidates. I appreciate you all taking the time, studying up, watching the meetings and trying to get involved. There's so much need within our community for folks like you to raise your hand and step up. And I thank you for doing that today.
I gotta say it was a tough call for me to pick. Yeah, to pick. Any other comments?
No, I hope there's, there's always planning commissions, seminars and conferences to where you learn a lot. It's sometimes tricky to play by the right rules. So you're going to learn that too, because that's the other part of it that you have to be aware of. So I'm sure that these candidates will excel in their position on the planning commission. Thank you for your service already.
Thank you all very much. All right, moving on now to item 7 of our business, consideration of resolution 2023-14, opposing voter initiative 21-0042A1 as proposed by the California Business Roundtable. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, council members. So this is an extremely important initiative, and there's going to really be a very coordinated kind of assault on this one from local government in California. So there's a lot of information that's been provided. Hopefully you've reviewed it. So this is one that's going to be difficult for the general public really to understand because of things like the title of this, the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act. Who isn't for that, right? And California Business Roundtable, what is that? And so we've actually included a list of all the major corporations that make this up. But, to kind of summarize some of the major provisions, this would dramatically change fees, penalties, other revenue measures, and the way that jurisdictions such as the city can enact them. Just a few quick examples. Our administrative citation process and administrative penalties that have been critical to our code enforcement efforts and incentivizing folks to clean up their properties and make sure that they're consistent with the requirements of the municipal code. Our ability to enact those type of penalties would be changed. We've had workshops and the city's interested in potentially growing its boundaries. So this would require, once an annexation happens, for special revenue measures such as Measure V and Measure P, any properties that are within a new annexation area, in order to collect the sales tax from those properties, we would have to put Measure P and Measure V back on the ballot again. And just a lot of things that, would really complicate and hinder the way we do business. So this has been attempted. I think this is the third time it's been attempted to be on the ballot. They almost made it last year. Consistent with our policy on league positions. We had the mayor send a letter opposing that. But the League of Cities wants to have a resolution from, every council in the state of California. And I expect that they're going to be successful in doing that. This is not one that jurisdictions really have varying opinions on. So anyway, that's kind of the overview here. We're going to hear a lot more about this, over the next year. And there's going to be a lot of effort put in to fighting this, because this is going to if it passes, will dramatically change the way that we do business.
It seems to me it's another attempt to take away local jurisdiction.
Well, yeah, it is a local control issue for sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Flora. Any questions, Madam Council Member?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I read through this a lot, and this would be so detrimental to our city, and probably most small cities definitely would be. And the idea that we would have to, if we wanted to do any enlargement, take something back to the voters is just critical. But what I'm worried about is, I mean, like, we're gonna have to take this on. This is not something that we can just send a letter and say, that's it. We need to have a plan on this one, because I think if it goes on again, it's very possible that this one will pass this time. And so, I mean, I think if we're going to do this, we need to step up and say, we're going to really fight this. We need to be able to, do like we did with Measure V and Measure P, and really, have the information out there and really push it. Get these people on the community radios and stuff like that to discuss it. We can't just say we're going to write a letter, because that's not going to do enough. I mean, that's great to put it up there, but that's not going to do anything to the public. This is going to go on the ballot, and we need to really realize that if we don't fight this, this is going to pass up almost positive if we don't really fight it. If the cities don't really step up this time. It did not fail for that much before. So I'm afraid that if we're going to do, I mean, I'm totally against this. I mean, I think this would be like so critical to us and any smaller cities. It would, definitely be. So I just say that we've got to make a decision. I'm all for definitely writing the letter, but we also need to put ourselves in there and say, we are going to put our efforts into fighting this. Otherwise, if this passes, there's just so much that's going to hurt us here in Clearlake. In most small towns anyway. Most every town's going to hurt.
Mr. Slotin.
Yeah, this is obviously trying to take local control away. It would hamper any kind of development or any kind of growth to the city. So that's obviously no, this would never have gotten that this far to start with.
And that could be the way we push it to the people. You like what we're doing? We'll stop.
Any other council comments? Any comments from the community? Anybody here? Mr. Mayo?
This initiative, the first time I'm hearing about it. I'm sure it's been around since Moby Dick was a minnow, but
No, it's new.
oh, it's brand new.
It's a new version of it.
Okay,
Several early.
not new, new.
The
This
new
version.
version of several old ones.
Okay, so
Yeah. It's better.
it's one of those epiphany moments that some state lawmaker came up with.
Oh, this is done by the business community.
This is done by.
None of the legislators.
Round table.
This is round table, okay. Enough information, I believe, has to be assimilated to the public. So the public completely understands what they gonna lose in this from the local level. If the information isn't precise, so people can understand what they have to lose by this passing in the local community, like vital services, for instance. The community being able to grow financially with putting in some new shopping centers. Well, we don't do shopping centers anymore, I forgot. But bringing in some, keeping the city economic viable. The public needs to be able to understand that. And I think getting enough information out and would the city manager be the one, would you be the one, Alan, that would just?
Actually, we're having this, Mr. Mayo, to try to make it public, to foster these discussions. As president of the NAACP, perhaps you could take this to your membership, share it in a newsletter if you have such a periodical or something, so people can make informed decisions. We're asking all of our community leaders to get involved.
Well, I was thinking about inviting the rock star over here. That's my the city manager. I'll always kid with him, but to bring him to one of our Zoom meetings before our membership, and he would be the better one to explain that than I. So
No question.
I have no problem with that. Inviting him to one of our meetings.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to address the council on this item? Please come forward. Any hands on the Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Ms. Overton.
As most times, district, so that you know, most time, the California city will put out what used to be called the League of Cities. Will put out bullet points on so that, you know, there's certain topics that, so that we all stay on track on saying basically consistently the same thing and not having one city saying one thing and another city saying something different that may not quite grow. So they normally send out a pretty good bullet point things that we can talk about and you know, so that we stay on those kind of tracks, so it's not misinformation out there, but that the people get the right information. But I mean, it's critical services we could lose if we decided to expand the city and had to put, say, Prop P back, Prop V, and then we didn't get voted in, then we lose our police department, basically a lot of it, and we'd lose our roads, you know, abilities. And those are the things that we would want to put out to our community that could happen if this went through. So those are the type of things, but there'll be bullet points, and hopefully we, like you said, make sure that we go to the meetings, to our civic clubs and to our radio station people that we know that have radio shows and stuff like that. And hopefully they'll help us get the word out and get it out in the correct way.
Any other comments from council?
Well,
All right.
I'm ready to make a motion if you're ready. to
Well,
have one.
yeah, I just want to make sure that that this is a very misleading proposition, as Mr. Flora pointed out. Its title alone, we've seen those pass because unfortunately an uninformed electorate reads the title of the proposition. It sounds fluffy and nice, so they vote for it, not recognizing the ramifications of that vote. So again, I echo Councilmember Overton's sentiments and support the adoption of this resolution. Do we have a motion?
As do I. Yes, Mr. Mayor. I absolutely agree with Councilwoman Overton's comments on what we should do going forward. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-14 and read by title only. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake opposing voter initiative 21-0042A1 proposed by the California Business Roundtable.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Kramer and a second by Councilmember Slutin.
Beat you to it.
Well, I get it. It's like the same.
All those in favor? Aye.
What happened
To it.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Well, there you have your answer, Mr. Flora. All right, moving on to final moments of our open meeting. So the city manager and council member reports. Mr. Flora, would you like to lead it off?
Sure. Just a few items. Was able to officially sign the California State Parks grant this week. The grant agreement that's for the $3 million for the Burnett Valley Sports Complex. So that's continuing to move forward. There's a few sort of algae mitigation projects on the lake that are in the process. As you know, we're working on the one over here across from the beach, and the majority of that project has been completed, but there's a few items that are still remaining. You may have seen the curtain has been shifting around a bit, and they're waiting on some additional anchoring devices that are needed for that. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, that will be completely finished up. And then there's a couple of other sort of pilot projects that have kind of came out of the Blue Ribbon Committee. And unfortunately, there was an expectation for some significant state funding to be allocated to some projects there, but with the state budget situation, sounds like it's unlikely for there to be much there. But because of the issues that we normally have sort of in the lower arm because of wind currents and so forth, it's most likely that those projects that do happen are the pilot projects are going to be along our shoreline and including at Redbud Park. So we're poking around trying to find maybe some other funding sources because the technology seems quite interesting. Anyway, just, we'll see how that moves forward, but hopeful that we can get a couple of those things tried out in addition to the project that we're installing. So, I just wanted to give a real significant thanks to our public works crew. As you know, over the last week, we had quite the unexpected storm event, and they, I think, have done a miraculous job under Miss Leiva's leadership in getting things cleaned up as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, there sounds like there's the possibility of a similar type of event Saturday and Sunday, so trying to be prepared for that. I would point out that, we're hoping it doesn't develop quite like last time, but I did talk to Sheriff Howe today, and we are preparing for using the senior center as a shelter if necessary, again, like we did a little bit last week. I don't want to get ahead of any of the details, but sort of related to the last event, and if we do have any more significant tree issues, we've had, a number of limbs down on private property. Unfortunately, this week we've seen a number of folks, instead of taking responsibility for those limbs, are throwing them into the public right of way and expecting our public works crew to come and clean that up. So that's unfortunate, and we want to definitely discourage strongly that type of behavior. But in order to try and help the community, we are coordinating with Clearlake Waste Solutions and are planning on having an event hopefully next weekend where we're going to have code enforcement or public works staff available across the street with some dumpsters, and folks will be able to stop and drop off those, and we'll chip them into the dumpsters. So that's the current plan. We'll be pushing more information out on that. So if you do have some limbs on your property, please don't throw them into the right of way. If you can hold on to them for a few more days, we'll do our best to help, get those out of your yard. So, but it's impossible for our public works crew to get things done if we're going around trying to clear the roadways from those limbs. And then I'm sure you all know this, but just wanted a reminder that on Saturday at the senior center is a celebration of life for our senior maintenance worker, Robert Viramonte. So hopefully we'll see some of you there.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
right.
Flora. Councilmember Kramer.
Yes, I want to echo your words about our staff. They were phenomenal in responding to this last week's weather event. I'm glad to see that we're offering the senior center again to Sheriff Howe and OES. If in fact we have a repeat, which I hope we don't. Meetings that I went to since the last council meeting, we had a short APC meeting earlier this week. I also attended RRA meeting, Risk Reduction Authority meeting. Only thing I want to say out of that, it's time of the year they're asking that each jurisdiction that's a member of the RRA support it with an amount of $5,000 per jurisdiction. The county is going to be supporting over the $22,000 donation. I think a number of our other jurisdictions have already approved that. I would hope that Clearlake would also support that with the $5,000. They've got improvement. The RRA still has improvement to be made in its actions, but I think we are getting better and making more of a difference. Also had several Clearlake Chamber Board marketing committee meetings and other meetings that have been going on. And last but certainly not least is Lower Lake Community Action Group's Crab Chipino dinner tomorrow night. I know a number of you have tickets for it, and it's going to go on snow or shine. So that's all I have.
That building up, I hope.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Councilmember Overton.
Well, last night I partially attended a EPA community outreach at the center last night. I'm really kind of disappointed that our public really doesn't get involved in that because it's really important. And but you can still go online and make your comments, and I hope people do. It was very interesting. Unfortunately, like I said, there wasn't too many, but the ones that were there had really good input. And I felt like they really listened and thanked them for their input and even admitted that they taught them something. So that's kind of nice, which that doesn't happen. They don't live here. So just we can't say, oh, good, they're there. But yeah, so but I want to thank them for coming in and trying to, get things out. Really not very many, like 3 or 4. So it wasn't really, it was really, sad because we are in a really EPA environment too. I mean, they want to talk about Sulphur Bank. They wanted to talk about Elam. They wanted to, talk about different things, and there really wasn't enough people to inform them of the information that I think we're searching for, but we can still do it online. Their comments section is still open. So I hope they go online. Everybody goes online and try to make your opinions on, or let them know what's going on here. I'd like to thank our Board of Supervisors personally for they approved $50,000 for each senior center to do some updating, help us with the funding out of, was that our ARPC? Our ARPA grant. So they didn't have to do that, but they did. So we appreciate that. All the senior centers really need that going forward. And I didn't really, I met today with, as a new board member on the Lake Links. I met with Lori over there for a couple of hours today to try to get myself brushed up, which that's what I'm saying you do when you get on a new board, have to go contact those people and get yourself caught up on what's going on. And then I'd like to invite the community to come down to the senior center. We started a buffet style dinner or lunch, and you get 2 choices of entrees. And if you're 60 or older, it's just a suggested donation, but open to the public for $10, so you can get, soup, get a salad bar and your entrees. And our event is on the 25th. So I'm really pushing that this month because it's the March for Meals month. So we are asking all our council members, supervisors to come and participate. Any of you guys would like to come and participate one day, just come in the morning, watch how we do the Meals on Wheels, go out on one of the routes. And it does take a couple hours on the routes most of the time, but it gives you just really don't know about how it really works until you really get functionally into it. And even the supervisors said they were learning about more during the pandemic of how important these centers are. A little heads up on during we're not just a senior center, ours isn't anyway. We are more during all of this stuff that happened. I handled 169 calls in 3 hours, myself, all regarding warming centers and stuff like that. So are we open? As a warming center, where do I go? Is there anybody to come clean my yard? Stuff like that. So we are not just a senior center. We were there. I was there answering phones. I did send my staff because it started snowing again after we went back. I sent them back home. Then I quit. So I just want people to realize that we're not just a senior center there. We really are a community center at whole. We'll service anybody. So we try to help out all we can, but we will not do it if we don't have funding. And once we've been lucky enough for this funding to come through the state and federal, but it's going away. And then we're right back to having to need the community support. So I really do hope that you guys support our events and come and have a good time and, do something good for our community. I think it'll be, you'll see what you can meet some of our Meals on Wheels drivers and stuff, but come and participate on sometime this month, set a date, come and to go out on a route and see how it works. They work very hard on this stuff. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slotin.
As you know, I was out of the state for a while, so I don't have a whole lot. The only thing I did was able to talk to people from our Assemblywoman Cecilia Aguilar Curry that she's sponsoring again a constitutional amendment. I think it's number 1, which is try to lower the threshold for special bond measures to 55% instead of 66 and a third. So that's something in the future to follow.
Thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, sir. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Just wanted to announce that the Rotary Seafood Boil is now rescheduled to the 18th of March, Saturday, the 18th. Proceeds will go to help support our youth center. So looking forward to having a great event there, and want to echo the comments already made. Thank you to our public works team, to our fire department, to everyone who was involved over the weekend. Incredible work done. Thank you for making this city continue to run day in and day out.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I want to echo those sentiments. Got great staff. Mr. Flora, thanks for leading the ship. Appreciate you keeping us on course. Same for you, Chief. Appreciate that and appreciate your staff. Went to the Area Planning Council. It was a rather business-like meeting, nothing really to report on that. The county did call a meeting for the city mayors for appointments to a couple of committees. Mr. Sloat and I continued your assignment on the LAFCO.
Thank you.
And Mr. Kramer, I believe you're still on the airport commission. So,
Hasn't met forever.
no, actually, he had a meeting, I believe.
He did.
Didn't you?
Did you have a meeting?
Oh, I thought you just, my bad. But if we ever, if we have a meeting, no, well, maybe.
They don't want to have a meeting.
If we have a meeting, you'll be the one they call.
Yeah.
So heads up on that. And I believe they'll be contacting you if they haven't already, Ms. Swanson, for those. So you'll have that information.
I do keep getting hints that they are going to have.
I hear they're going to. Anyway, that concludes this portion of our public meeting. We're going to adjourn to our closed session in 5 minutes.
I had one. 20 years.
I had one.
I've done 2 meetings.
Well,